UFC Qatar this weekend. Tsurukyan taking on Dan Hooker in the #1 contender spot to see who gets to mix it up with Topuria sometime next year. This is the weigh-in recap. We're going to take a look at each fighter on the scale, see how they rehydrated, check out the face-offs, go over the odds, and ultimately wrapping up the picks. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the video. Share it with your friends as well, and let's get the video underway. First fight of the night, we do have Denzel Freeman taking on Marek BULJO. I've been picking Denzel Freeman. I'm going to rock with Denzel Freeman in this one. Like I told you guys, I really don't think BULJO is really good. A lot of his opponents have been pretty much can crushers. I don't expect BULJO to be able to, I don't think he's going to be able to mix it up with Denzel Freeman, who to me seems as though he definitely has more experience. He's been in there with better fighters. He actually has been fighting people who are going to fight him back. So I got to lean on Freeman, former Marine as well. Respect to all my veterans out there. I think Freeman is a solid pick here. Granted, this fight did come together, about three weeks ago, I believe. He is traveling overseas, which is something I don't really like, particularly for, American fighters. But I do think Freeman does have the skill set to beat a BULJO, who, again, we don't really have an accurate depiction of what his skill set is. He's fighting a lot of guys that are balling up, falling to the floor, and just letting him do whatever he wants. So I'm going to rock with Freeman. I think he gets it done. The win over Stephen Askren really stands out to me against, any opponent that this guy has really fought. So I'm going to rock with Freeman. I think he gets it done. Let's check them out on the scales. Let's see where we at. Here's Freeman. Got the glasses on. He looks pretty solid. I mean, he came in on weight. Nobody missed weight, but I will say it was real lenient on the scales. We'll get there when we get there, especially one of the fighters in particular. Here is BULJO. You can see him over here to the right. I mean, he looks all right. What do you want me to say about him? He's a tall dude. You'll definitely see it at the face-offs, but I'm not really impressed. They're heavyweights. They don't really look physically imposing, or they're not all cut up and things like that. But whatever. I'm still gonna rock with Freeman. Here's the face-off. You could kind of see the height advantage. They do have some distance apart from them. But I'm going to rock with Freeman, man. I think he can mix it up a lot better. Again, like I told you, a lot of BULJO's opponents have just been running away from him and letting him do whatever he wants. I think they've been taking money to allow this guy to win fights. So I'm going with the guy who actually has real fights on his record and who has been punched back, who has faced adversity. I'm going to go with Freeman. Let's get to the odds. We got Freeman, wide favorite now, -205, opened up as a +160. If you guys got him at +160, respect to you. +175 on the side of BULJO. We could go under 1.5. I'll be quite honest. I do think Freeman has the capabilities to get it done early. What is Freeman by KO? +125. BULJO by sub, if you believe in his jiu-jitsu, +550. He is pretty big, don't get me wrong. I just think Freeman has the wrestling defense to avoid anything that he's really going to throw at him. Freeman inside of distance, -135. Freeman decision, unanimous decision, +650. Let's see, most takedowns. Let's see if they got something on that. I'm not really seeing it. Freeman wins, and where's Freeman wins under 1.5, +110? Not really much. I'm going Freeman. I think he gets it done. I think he could finish BULJO as well. So give me the guy with real fights on his record. Let's get to the next fight. We got ALIEV taking on Shaquem Rock. Little, adjustment to the order bout. I know earlier in the week I did pick Shaquem, but we're gonna have to pick Narulo. I think I want to see Narulo lose, but the smart pick would be ALIEV to win with all of his control time. I think it is going to be a boring fight unless Rock, like I said, could pull off a submission from bottom, but that's pretty tough to do when normally he's the better wrestler in the matchups. I don't think he's going to be the better wrestler here. I think ALIEV does have some solid control, but again, I really don't like this guy as a fighter. I go back to that Joe Solecki fight, that third round did get a little testy for him. I don't know. I do like the not the scramble ability, but the things that, Rock is able to do off of his back. He is pretty dangerous with his grappling, but it's more so of like a degen call to say, Shaquem Rock gets a submission off of his back rather than just taking it as what it's going to be with Aliev racking up a lot of control time. I would say if they get to the feet, I'm not really scared of what Aliev offers. I think Shaquem could probably get some striking going, but I do foresee this fight taking place on the mat and primarily with Shaquem Rock on his back. So I'm gonna go with Aliev. I hope I'm wrong. Again, I really don't like this guy. They've been calling him, Khabib's clone, but I don't think he has anything on Khabib at all. I don't think he's anywhere close to Khabib. So I think he wins. Again, don't really care if he does though. Won't see him in any place. Here he is on the scales. Looks all right. Looks pretty solid. Here's Shaq. They did bring out the box for him, but he may weight no issues. 156, I believe it was. He looks pretty solid. Both of these guys look pretty solid for the weight class. Let's get to the odds. Shem sitting at plus 240, minus 280 for Narulo. I mean, yeah, it seems right. Boring fight. I will be quite honest though. Let's see. Decision or over 2.5 is minus 180, which is definitely live. Aliev inside the distance, I don't think is happening. Decision minus 130. Rock submission is what? Plus 500. If it was upwards of like plus 700, I would definitely take a stab at it, but I don't know, man. Rock round 3, what's that? Plus 1500 if you think he could do something similar to what, Rock sub round 3, plus 2000 if you think he could do what Joe Selecki did. Maybe. Again, we're really just chasing there though. But yeah, I mean, Rock should win. I mean, Aliev should win. I didn't even get to the ceremonies. You could tell I really don't care about this fight. I'll be quite honest. I hope not both of them. I think Shaq's okay, but I don't really like this fight. Where is the face off? That's what I'm looking for. Here we go. There's a little fire in between both of these guys, but there's really not much to say, man. Whatever. that's what I got to say about the fight. I'm gonna go Aliev again. Not a fan of this guy. Hope he gets knocked out pretty soon. Next fight. Ooh, glad that's over. Loder taking on Ismail Naurdiev. I am still rocking with Ryan Loder, and especially after the weigh-ins, I got a lot more confidence in Ryan Loder. I think his physicality is definitely going to give Naurdiev a lot of issues, and I'll be quite honest. I didn't like what I seen from Naurdiev on the scale. Like, he made weight at 185, but he doesn't look like a 185er. Let's just get to the scales. Tired of. I already gave you guys the breakdown. I think his wrestling is definitely gonna zap Naurdiev here. Here's Naurdiev, right? He may weight 185, rocking the haircut or whatever, but he doesn't look cut. Like look at Ian Gary below him. He looks pretty cut for 170. You know what I'm saying? Naurdiev definitely can make 170, and I think he should go down to 170. He's dealing with a lot of big bodies up at 185. I don't think this is the right division for him. I don't think he really looks that good on the scale either. Here's Ryan Loder. He looks like a 185er. And now, especially at the face-offs, we see how much larger he is than Naurdiev. I told you guys he wasn't 6 feet. They got him listed at 6 feet. He's more like, he was looking like 5'9". Here's the face-off. Naurdiev got a little, I think he got up in his face for a quick little moment. But Loder looks significantly taller, definitely leaner out of the two. If we could get, where is Naurdiev on the scale? Here's Naurdiev, right? He doesn't look that like he's in great condition. You know what I mean? He doesn't look seriously cut up like he prepared all his might in this camp. I'm not impressed with Naurdiev on the scale. I think he looked better in his last fight. I don't know, man. Look, he looks like YAKHYEV. YAKHYEV is up at 205. There's still a lot of, meat on the bones here. He's not, I don't know, man. I don't think Naurdiev's going to get it done. I think Ryan Loder is going to bully him. Granted, his striking is, but I think he'll be able to close distance with the wrestling, especially with Naurdiev. I think Naurdiev is going to look to throw big bombs. I think Loder's going to be able to drop down underneath those shots, take him down, and control him. So I'm going Ryan Loder. I think it could be inside the distance. I hope it's inside the distance. Plus 120 on Loder, minus 140 on Naurdiev. Let's see, Loder TKO sits at plus 550. Naurdiev TKO plus 275. Naurdiev round 1 plus 450 if you think he gets it done early. Loder round 1 plus 675. I think this fight goes into round 2, round 3. And that's where we see Loder take over. Round 2 for Loder plus 700. Round 3 for Loder plus 900. I think he could get, I think he could control Naurdiev and probably get some decent ground and pound going. Over 1.5, I think is live if he doesn't get knocked out in the first round. But looking at Bakoyev and looking at Naurdiev, they're completely two different fighters. So I think Loder's gonna be all right in this matchup. I don't think he gets bullied by the smaller guy. I think he's gonna be able to survive. Next fight, we got Beksat ALMAKHAN taking on Alexandre Topuria. Probably one of the 3 most significant fights on this card. I'm a rock with Topuria, man. He's got his brother there with him. I was happy to see that. Paddy Pimblett's also there. There's a lot of people. Hamzat in the corner of Armin. There's a lot to get to. But I think Alexandre has what it takes to beat a Beksat ALMAKHAN. I think he's going to be able to avoid, those big power blitzes that Beksat likes to throw. I don't think he's going to get caught by, a sneaky uppercut like he caught Brad Katona with. The movement that Topuria's got, man, it's nice. And the way that Alexandre is able to unload after, slipping and ripping those shots, I think it could give Beksat a lot of trouble. Also, I think Alexandre is going to look to wrestle in this matchup, definitely zap the gas tank of Beksat. We saw Beksat look dangerous early against Umar, and then we also saw him controlled. So I think Alexandre is going to mix in the wrestling fairly well in this matchup. Look for maybe a suplex or two. I think he's going to be able to do what he needs to do against Beksat. Beksat is really nice, but I got to lean with Alexandre. I think he is a little more versatile, a little cleaner, and I think he has a little bit more power. But I got to say, this is definitely a close-ass fight. If you're on either side, I understand. I'm not. My belief in Alexandre, I would say I'm at like 70% that he gets it done. Yeah. I was about to say 60, like 65%. That's where I lean on Alexandre. The more I think about it, it is a nail biter, but I think Topuria's got it, man. I think he can get it done. Let's get to the scales. Here is, I thought I saw Beksat. Here's Alexandre on the scales. Looks really good. 135, maybe weight, no issues. And where's Beksat? That's the scale. Here's Beksat. Looks good. Definitely a little smaller or at least in the, when we get to the face off, I'll tell you what I'm looking at. Where are we? Okay, here's the face off. Beksat's head is slightly smaller than I anticipated here. Alexandre looks like he's got like the wider frame, especially like here on the scale as well too. Definitely looks a lot wider than Beksat. I think he'll be able to control him, especially like in clinch situations. I think he'll have the I think he's gonna be able to. I think he could. I think he could bully Beksat. I think he could bully him in a clinch. I could see big shots landing on Beksat too. That beard could, deceive Beksat as to where the chin really is. Topuria's got some really good head movement. I think he gets it done, man. I got a lot of confidence in him. 60%, like I just said, 65% rather. Topuria swole a little bit over the week, minus 125, plus 105 for Beksat. I think we go to a decision. I'm leaning decision or submission for Topuria, honestly. Over 1.5 is live, in my opinion, minus 200. Topuria sub. is plus 550. If you think Bexat knocks him out, plus 200. Granted, he was only knocked out once in the past 10 years. But yeah, I'm gonna lean Alexandre. I think he could get it done, man. Submission or decision is my official call. I think he could get it done. The Topurias are finishers, you know what I'm saying? Whereas Umar and a lot of the Nurmagomedovs don't really have that finish upside. I think Topuria is gonna find a finish. Next fight, we got Abdul Rahman YAKHYAEV taking on Rafael Cerqueira. Squash match, YAKHYAEV KO round 1. Cerqueira, 3 losses in a row, 2 of them being knockouts. Was getting clipped by Julius Walker. Had a decent third round, but I think YAKHYAEV is going to be able to do whatever he wants here. I think he can sting him with the first shot. I think he could knock him out with the second one. I don't think Cerqueira is UFC level. I think he's going to sleep. Let's get to the scales. Both guys may weight, no issues. Like I said, we got YAKHYAEV over. I thought he was on the left. Here he is on the right. He really reminds me of Ankalaev. That's the vibe that I'm really getting from this guy. Where is Cerqueira? Here he is. May weight. Dude is a freak. He's definitely a freak, but I don't think he has a skill set, man. I like what I've seen from YAKHYAEV. The tape speaks for itself. Cerqueira getting knocked out left and right. I think he's getting knocked out again. Here's a face-off. Slight little height advantage for Cerqueira, but I'm more concerned with the technical ability. I don't think Cerqueira has really good strike defense. Like I'm looking at the Modestas Lukakus knockout where he's just, trying to slip shots on the cage and just getting his head pummeled in. I think it's going to look a lot similar to that. So YAKHYAEV KO, but guess what? Minus 2,000, plus 1,000 for Cerqueira. Wrong fight, my bad. YAKHYAEV KO is minus 170. So a parlay piece inside the distance minus 800. YAKHYAEV submission plus 180. There's really no value. Under half a round plus 175. Under 1.5 minus 302. There's really nothing that you can really play straight, You're gonna have to put it in a parlay. YAKHYAEV round 1 KO plus 125. Yeah. Nothing much there. I do think he comes out and squashes him though. So Abdul Rahman YAKHYAEV KO is the official pick. Next fight, we got Alex Perez taking on Asu Almabayev. I'm pretty high on Asu Almabayev, especially in this matchup. Looking at Alex Perez on the scale, he did look like, he's been through a lot of things. Granted, he is coming off of that injury, the pullout against Steve Erceg. I think it's, another L coming for Alex Perez. He's only 33, but he's got a lot of miles on him. I think Asu, a little younger, a little bit more spry, definitely has a lot left in store for him. I think the wrestling is going to give Alex Perez a lot of issues. I don't see a lot of power coming from Alex Perez. Yeah, he has a knockout over Mateus Nicolau, but it's Mateus Nicolau. His chin is pretty fragile. Almabayev got eye poked by Manel Cobb 8 months ago, came back, did his thing against Jose Ochoa, who I thought was going to give him a lot of issues, especially with the stylistic matchup between Cobb and Jose Ochoa. Both, pretty fast strikers, have some good power too. But the way he was able to control him and nullify all of that for a majority of the exchanges was pretty significant. Now he's dealing with an even lesser threat in Alex Perez. I think Asu Almabayev does what he needs to do here and gets a control base win. Decision or submission is the official pick for Asu Almabayev. Let's get to the scale. And first up, we got Asu looking pretty good. Does have some acne on the chest. Popping them roids, my boy. Popping them roids, man. I'm telling you. We'll get to roids pretty soon. Especially with my man over here on the left. But look at Alex Perez. He looks drained. Like it took a lot for him to make 125. He probably needs to, go up or call it quits, is what I'm thinking. Definitely looks a little drained. You see it all in the eyes, whereas Asu looks, young and spry, like I was just saying. And he's probably all in the roids. Over there, the testing is a little limited. So we got a steroided Asu Almabayev versus Alex Rez, who's, hanging on by a thread. Look at him. Looks very unenthused to be there. Here's the face off. Can't really tell the height difference with the Kyrgyzstan hat that he has on, but Almabayev is gonna do his thing. I think he's gonna dominate him. 30-27 is definitely live in my opinion. Asu is sitting at minus 190 plus 165 for Perez. Asu decision sits at plus 125. Almabayev via sub plus 325. Over 1.5 definitely live, minus 425. Over 2.5, minus 170. I definitely believe. I think if it is a finish on Almabayev, I think it'll come very late. So after he's draining him out, taking him down repeatedly, I think Asu Almabayev looks good in this matchup. Next fight, we got Sagid Izagakmaev. Izagakmaev taking on Nicholas Dalby. I'm going with Sagid, training with Islam for his camp for JDM. He hasn't fought in a while. Granted, it is what it is. Knocked out Aoki, who not really a spectacular win, seeing at the time that it was. But I mean, he does his thing. He's pretty solid, well-rounded, like his wrestling, like his control, like his striking, especially against Nicholas Dalby coming off that KO against Randy Brown. Don't like that he's 41 years old. Don't like that he's traveling over here. I don't like that he's facing a very grapple heavy, good striking Dagestani guy in Sagid. I think Sagid is a solid signing. 31 years old, young, still on the rise. I think he can finish Dalby, but I think it'll be more of a. I think Dalby will have moments with the way that he's able to, keep the pressure up. He has really good cardio, like I told you about the breathing technique that he was working on. If Sagid is shooting 100 takedowns early in that first round and he's tired, especially with the ring rust, could be a cause concern, but I think he's pretty talented. I think he has the mind and, knows how to limit himself. Granted, this is going to be the biggest stage that he's been on throughout his entire career, and the dude has 24 fights, but I think he gets it done, man. I'm gonna go with Sagid. Solid confidence in him as well. Debut guys, don't really turn out the best, but I think this is a guy that should be all right. Where is Sagid on the scales? Can't tell if that's Sagid or is it Tagir. I think that's Sagid, right? Narulo, they all look alike, man. We need some more distinction between the two. Is that Tagir or is that Sagid? Yeah, this is Sagid. Okay. Sagid looking solid, 170, made weight, no issues. Who's our other guy? Dalby. Where's Nicholas? Here he is. He looks a little bit leaner, especially like in the midsection. He looks a little leaner on the scale. Neck looks less, thick. I don't know. Something different about Dalby here. Maybe it was the knockout. Something different about Dalby. I can't really put my head around it. Where is the face-off? We got Dalby back at the ceremonials. He looks a lot better rehydrated. So maybe it was just, weight cut. Maybe he had to cut a little bit more. Who knows? But he definitely looked a little different. Here's the face-off. You can see the height advantage for Sagid. Dalby, classic, chin down, eyes forward, hands up, pressure type of style. But I think he's going to lose here. I like Nicholas Dalby. I just don't like him in this matchup. Sagid, minus 315, plus 265 for Dalby. Sagid inside the distance is what? Plus 125. Over 1.5, minus 285. I think we do get to over 1.5. I think that's definitely live. KO for Sagid is plus 235. Dalby Dalby KO is plus 1,000 if you think he can outlast him, similar that he did to Bone Fiend, but I think he's more well rounded than Bone Fiend, excuse me, and he definitely has better control than Bone Fiend. So I'm gonna go with Sagid. I hate that, it'll probably be a decision. He is live to finish, but we're getting a lot of EV outcomes, if you know what I'm talking about, man. This card is alright. It's alright. I'll tell you who made it better though. My man Waldo. We'll get there when we get there. Next fight, Luke Riley, Bogdan Grad. Man, this is a head-on collision. I'll tell you that much. But I do think Luke Riley wins, especially after seeing the face-offs. I am not. I think Bogdan Grad should probably drop down to 135. I don't think he's cut for 145. Like, the dude is strong or whatever, but after the face-off against Luke Riley, who looks like he's probably like 12 years old, he looked like a little-ass boy to me. And they're listed at 5'9", 5'8". But to see that they're fighting in the same weight class, it threw me for a loop. I think Riley's boxing combinations are going to hurt Bogdan with the big, one power shots that he throws in the pocket. I think Bogdan could get caught standing and, taking pictures for a lot of the exchanges, and Riley's just getting off on him. I think Riley's live for a knockout. I really like his volume, especially Bogdan, the way that he only throws, singular 1 to 3 shot combinations. I think Riley's going to be able to put on a lot of punches on his face. I think Bogdan Grad's probably hitting the mat. Here's Bogdan on the scale. Yo, the dude's ripped, right? Definitely jacked, cut. Has a puny ass head though. Look at his head compared to Alex Perez's. And Perez is a 125er. You know what I'm saying? His head is puny as hell, bro. And then where is my man Luke Riley? Where is Luke? Here he is on the scale. Looked ready to go. Looked ready. Looks like Zac Efron if he ever wanted to fight. Let's get to the face-off though, because this is what I was talking about. Look at how small Bogdan Grad's head is, bro. It's like a pea versus an acorn. Luke Riley got a big ass head. Scouts just don't get knocked out. I think he's gonna put a beating on Bogdan. Definitely looks way larger. The height difference looks way larger. It's probably because of they didn't really measure their heads. Because Bogdan, I don't know, he looked like a little bug. I think he's gonna get squashed in this one. I'm going Luke Riley. I think he can knock him out. Like I said, I like the multi-shot combinations. I like that he's relentless. And I think he's getting a good opponent to show, the heart that he has. So I'm rocking with Riley. Minus 250 plus 210 on the money line. KO for Riley sits at plus 130. Decision plus 185. KO or decision is definitely my lean. KO round 2 is what? Riley wins in round 2 plus 475. KO round 2 is plus 500. So I think round 2 is going to be the sweet spot. I don't think it's going to be the first exchange. But I'm going to lean Luke Riley. I think KO or decision is the official pick. Next fight. Opening up the main card. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Kyoji Horiguchi taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. I will be quite honest. Seeing a face-off, I was a little intimidated for Horiguchi. Dude is tiny. Like, I didn't think the height advantage was this bad. Tagir looks like he's 2 weight classes above him. Does it deter me from my pick? No. Because I do think Tagir is still on a decline. I do think Horiguchi is the better striker. I think he still has really good speed. A lot of people are calling him old, but he's only a couple months older than Tagir. I think we got Tagir on the decline, and we're getting Kyoji still not peak, but, just outside of his peak. I think Kyoji's striking is a lot better than Tagir. I think Tagir can get caught not really getting, or I don't think he's going to have a lot of success with his wrestling. He's going to have to shoot really low for those hips of Kyoji. I think Kyoji will be able to evade and get a counter shot going. I'm a favorite Koji, even after seeing the face-off, which did worry me a little bit, but I'm starting to get more confidence now that I'm thinking about the fight. I love the speed. I love the footwork of Kyoji against the Tagir, who's his striking is okay, but I don't think he could hold a candle to Kyoji standing on the feet, which is why he's gonna need this fight on the mat. But Kyoji has pretty good takedown defense. We saw Taguera unable to get IZAGAKMAEV down, and IZAGAKMAEV was getting ragdolled against Mitch Raposo. I think Kyoji's better than Azat and Mitch Raposo. So let's get to the scale. We got, how many EVs is it? We got Kyoji, damn near as tall as the scale, but dude looks good, man. May weight, no issues, 125.5, I believe he came in. And that's Sagid. That's Narulo. Here's Taguera. Definitely looks like this weight cut, took a lot out of him. He was struggling to make it to the scale. He made weight. He was very thankful that he made weight, but that scale was still moving. That's what I was talking about earlier. If you go back, there's a couple clips on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. The scale's still bobbing, so I don't know if Taguera actually made weight. I don't think he needs to be down at 125 anymore if he's struggling to make it. He probably didn't struggle, but, probably was like a half a pound over. They were very lenient on the scales, man. Let's get to the face-off. We got... Look how much taller he is, man. Where's the face-off so we could get the accurate depiction of it? Oh, they didn't get the face-off? They didn't get the face-off? That's crazy. I know they have it. I'm probably just blind. No, they didn't post. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm blind. My bad. Look how tall Taguera looks compared to Kyoji. Yo. Kyoji looks like he's like 5'3", and Taguera looks like he's like 5'9". I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. But I like the speed from Kyoji, man. I think he could close the distance a lot better than Taguera. I think his takedown defense is gonna hold up here. But that definitely is intimidating. Like, he looks like a strawweight taking on a damn featherweight. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go with the little guy. I'm gonna rock with him, man. I'm gonna rock with the little man. Plus 172 for Kyoji, minus 202 for Taguera. Kyoji, I lean decision. But again, it could get testy. We over in Qatar, but I don't know. Sometimes it's 50-50 with, Riyadh, Qatar, Abu Dhabi. Some of them will lean their guy if they really like him, but he didn't really do much to win the fight. And then sometimes they're like, man, fuck all this control time. We want to see blood. So I don't know. If we're seeing Kyoji have a lot of success with the striking, I think they will lean towards him rather than Taguera holding him up against the cage, unable to really get any control time or take him down. You know what I'm saying? So it's a 50-50 in my mind. I don't think the odds should be, they're not crazy wide, but I'm gonna rock with the little man, dog. Horiguchi decision plus 235, Ulanbekov decision plus 110, Horiguchi KO plus 800, Ulanbekov sub plus 450. What's the last time Ulanbekov had a submission win? Cody Durden doesn't really, tell me he's gonna do it. And Nate Maness doesn't really tell me he's gonna do it against Kyoji. Kyoji's last loss was one loss by submission. His last loss was a decision Apache Mix 2022. Sergio Pettis loss where he came back and, won that back. His submission loss was to DJ 10 years ago. I don't think Taguera Ulanbekov wins. I don't think he submits him either. I'm going to rock with Kyoji. I'm going to rock with the little guy to get it done. I know there's some of you guys out there that are, sub 5'5", so I'm on your side. I'm not 5'5". I'm much larger than 5'5", but, I'll support you guys as well. Next fight, we got Waldo Cortez Acosta stepping in on 16 hours notice to fly in and make weight, taking on Shamil Gaziev. Yo, I respect the hell out of Waldo. I respect the hell out of him. He's shitting on Tom Aspinall every chance that he gets, showing that, that eye poke is what it is. Still knocked out Ante Delija after, the scramble of the fight. Came back, said, I'm ready to fight whenever, and he's definitely proven it. I gotta go with Waldo here. I do think he's a better striker than Shamil, but I will be honest. we had Gaziev in a couple of plays. I'm taking him out. I can't put Waldo in a parlay because I will say at the scale he did look like that flight definitely got to him, and I don't love that he's flying in across the damn world on such short notice. If this fight was in Vegas and New York, somewhere where it was easier for him to access, then oh yeah, Waldo all day. I'm still picking him because I do think he mixes it up a lot better than Shamil. I think the leg kicks will be there for Waldo. I can see Shamil really he plots forward and he really just looks to set up that right hand of his. I don't think he's gonna be able to do that against Waldo. Now, what I do see being a possibility is, Waldo comes in definitely jet lagged because he is going to be jet lagged. And, probably just looks a little sleepy that first round and maybe he gets caught. But Waldo's pretty durable. He's been able to take a lot of guys' best punch. Sergey Pavlovich lost, took his best punch multiple times. The Spivak win, he was taking some good looks in there too. He rolls with shots pretty well. He's never really taken, a lot of damage. The Deliha knockout. I'm looking back at the Jairzinho Rosenstrike, finish where Gaziev really just quit. Granted, that was the first 5-round fight, I believe, in his career. But I'm looking at Jairzinho and I'm looking at Waldo, and there's a slight technicality difference, but Waldo also fights similar to a Jairzinho. So I can see him having some success against Gaziev. I just don't love that it's such short notice. But I'm a rock with Waldo. I trust in the boy. I'm just not, putting any money on him. That's all. That's all I really could say. Let's get to the scales. You'll see what I'm talking about when I said, that flight kind of got to him. Here's Waldo on the scales, right? Fresh. He made it with an hour to weigh in. Made cut weight 265 on the dot. But I wish I can zoom in. I'm still trying to figure out this damn OBS shit. The zoom them out shit wasn't working for me. So if you know how to do it, please, drop it in the comments. I downloaded everything, but it's still not working. Whatever. His eyes look a little sleepy, man. His eyes was, bloodshot red. Long ass flights, probably like what, 15, 16 hours. When I flew to Kuwait, I flew to Kuwait from Atlanta, I believe. I think it was like 14 hours. So I imagine this was probably like a 12 to 16 hour flight. And then to come straight in and cut weight, I know how, tough that must have been. Dude, he's about that money though. I respect it 1,000%. He doesn't look like he was out of camp either. Like you can still see a little bit of muscularity on the abs for him, but why? I respect it. Don't get me wrong. Here's Gaziev, big blob. Don't get me wrong. Gaziev does have some good striking. I was picking him against Sergey. I don't think Sergey is as good as Waldo, and we just saw that happen. So, I hate this fight. I hate that it's in Qatar for Waldo, but I'm still gonna rock with Waldo. Let's get to the face-off. Slight little height advantage for Gaziev. I just like Waldo, man. He is definitely a player at 265 in the heavyweight division. I respect him for doing it, but it can also hurt his title shot implications. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he comes out and wins, don't get me wrong. Yo, let me weigh in as a backup. I'm next. Forget about Volkov, especially with, how boring that fight was, even though he won. Not forget the rematch, because you got to do the rematch, but he's clearly the next contender if he wins here. 2 back-to-back fights. He got an eye poke in that one. May wait 16 hours notice. You got to give him a title shot if he wins here. But if he loses, then all that he just put in just goes down the drain. He'll probably end up fighting. I can see him fighting Jyotin or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Waldo, favorite, which is pretty interesting. Open that plus 105, minus 135, plus 115 for Shamil. There's no props yet because this fight it literally just got made. But I'm gonna go Waldo. Hopefully he doesn't get clipped. You know, in that first round, looking a little sleepy. I'm gonna trust in Waldo again. The dude is about his business. He's about that money, and he's about fighting. So I gotta respect him for doing it. I'm gonna take him, and I'm gonna trust in Waldo Cortez to get it done. Next fight, Jack Hermansson taking on Miktabek OROLBAI. I'm still picking OROLBAI. A lot of people are very uh sorry, is that a brain fart? They're kind of saying that Jack Hermansson looked pretty good on the scale, but I had a different take on it, right? We know what both of these guys present. Jack, I do favor his striking from distance, but Mintabek isn't a dead fish on the feet. I really want to get to the scale because that's really what we were worried about in this matchup. Where's Jack? I want to look at Jack first before the caveman. There's Mintabek. Okay, here's Jack, right? And I'm gonna zoom it in for you guys if I can figure out how. I'm gonna zoom it in. So look at Jack here, right? Now I'm gonna bring up a picture. Here it is of Jack Hermansson at 185, and you tell me what you see. I see a large difference. Look at the neck. Look at the jawline of Hermansson. You can even look at the abs. He looks really thin to me. Like he drained a lot of muscle to make 170. Like, yeah, he's still cut, but it doesn't look like a healthy Jack Hermansson. He doesn't even look like Jack Hermansson. If you look at the face, it really looks like he's drained to the fullest. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like this weight cut for him. It was a red flag for me before the fight was made, and it's a red flag to me after seeing him make weight. Face off. You can see him here. He looks really good. You know, rehydrated. Definitely looks big, strong, healthy. Wonder what he's coming in at on fight night. But here is the face off. If I could find it, they would, you know, put it in order. It would make things a lot easier. And I'm blind, so please bear with me. I do need my glasses. I can't find them anymore. We got a lot of Armin. We got a lot of Hooker. And here we go. Face off at the very top. Jack slightly taller. I would say both of these guys look to be in pretty good condition. I don't really give one an advantage, but I do know OROLBAI has a hell of a gas tank. I do know Jack Hermansson starts pretty slow. I do know Mintabek wants to grapple. I do know Jack Hermansson was grappling with Hamzat back in the day, but I don't love this weight cut. This is definitely a fight. Now that I'm looking at the face-off, it's way more interesting than when it was booked, because what if Hermansson comes in pretty heavy and OROLBAI is unable to get him down? But I got to trust in OROLBAI because I've seen what he's been able to do through 3 rounds, through getting his face crushed. I got to trust in OROLBAI in this matchup, man. I can't pick Jack Hermansson making that bad of a weight cut. To me, it doesn't really look like a good weight cut. There's been worse, don't get me wrong, but I can't trust him dropping down to 170 at 37 years old after getting starched not even 6 months ago. So now you're just depleting your brain even more. You know, when you get knocked out like that, it's not really good for your brain. And then to cut weight, 15 pounds at 37, I don't really like it. I'm going to lean Mintabek. I think it's going to be a decision, and I do think it will be a fight, though. I'll tell you that much. I do respect Jack, especially his jab from the distance, but I think Mintabek will be able to dog him, especially late. So late round 2, round 3, I think we're going to see OROLBAI's gas tank really show and impress, especially up at 170 where he's been draining himself to make 155. So pretty interesting matchmaking here. Minus 235, plus 200 for Hermansson. We got over 2.5, minus 150. Yes, I do think it's a decision. OROLBAI decision, plus 175. Hermansson decision, plus 300. If you think Hermansson comes with that power, damn, plus 1400 for TKO. That's kind of crazy. OROLBAI has been stung up. Has he been stopped in his career? Never been stopped, never been knocked out or submitted. 2 decision losses. Rebecki and Khalid Satuev. Plus 1400 is a little crazy. Are you crazy enough to bet on it? If you are, go right ahead. I don't like this matchup. I do favor OROLBAI though. Next fight, we got feature fighter tonight and one part of the lock of the week. Volkan, no time, OEZDEMIR taking on Alonzo Menifield. I think Volkan's coming through, knocking him out within the first 2 rounds. Could be a later finish though. But Volkan definitely favor the striking, definitely favor the kickboxing from range. I think he's the better wrestler. I think he's the better grappler. I think he's better everywhere that this fight goes. I don't, like I told you in the lock of the week segment, I think Alonzo Menifield has really bad IQ. He's been back and forth with a lot of, coaches and training camps. I don't see him coming over here for the second time, I believe, and winning. The last time he was out here, he got knocked out by Isaac Mirzakhanov. I think it's going to look a lot similar to that. Round 2, head kick, or even just a power shot from Volkan, who has some really good power in those hands too. I know he's coming off a loss against Carlos Ulberg, but it wasn't that bad of a loss. He still had some pretty decent moments in that fight. Johnny Walker KO starched him, put another one on it for good luck. Bogdan sub lost to Nikita Krylov 3 years ago, and then a win over Paul Craig. I think Volkan OEZDEMIR's resume is a lot better than Alonzo. His 2 wins are against young prospects and barely won both of them. And then a win against Dustin Jacoby about 2 years ago. I got to favor Volkan. I think he gets it done. I think it's a knockout as well. Let's get to the scales. We got Alonzo, Mayweight. Nothing really much to say about him. 205 on the dot. We got, where's my guy? OEZDEMIR. I'm blind. Please bear with me. I'm tweaking. Here he is. Mr. Pasty, looking pretty good. You see the tan on him. Been getting some sun. Don't really know if he tanned his head, but definitely tanned the arms. Looks pretty good on the scale, man. 205, no issues. Let's get to the face-off. Here we go. Volkan looks to be significantly larger than Alonzo. You can see the shoulder difference. His shoulders are at Alonzo's damn near nose. You know what I'm saying? Damn near his chin. I think he's going to crush Alonzo Menifield. Could be a first round. I'm leaning towards second. Alonzo can slow fights down sometimes, just throwing, big shots, but I think Volkan's going to be able to find that opening. Watch Alonzo. I think this is exactly how it's going to happen. Alonzo's going to throw a big overhand. Volkan's going to slide out of range, counter shot, put him down. I'm calling it now. Counter, left straight to put Alonzo Menifield out. Round 1. I'll say round 1. Let's see. Alonzo plus 190, Volkan minus 225. Volkan KO is, inside of this is minus 110. KO plus 130. KO round 1 is, fight ends round 1 KO plus 200. Volkan round 1 KO plus 375 is what I am leaning. So plus 375, not too bad. I do think Volkan gets it done. Round 1, round 2 is what I'm leaning. And part of the lock of the week. Let's get to the second half of the lock of the week. Ian Garry taking on Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. Belal's going to get caught chasing a lot in this fight. Ian Garry's slickness, his movement, the pace that he's able to fight at, the speed at which he's going to have against Belal is going to force Belal to shoot a lot of bad takedowns. I can see him running into the cage. I can see him using that long guard that he likes to track people down with and just chasing Garry around the ring. Doesn't really cut it off well either. I think Gary's going to have a lot of success ripping inside low kicks. I think he's going to have a lot of success throwing the 1-2. Belal does slip side to side, so look for high kicks. I think Garry is going to put on a performance here and definitely stamp his name for a welterweight title shot, which I have to add, after I did the lock of the week, the predictions, I said, Ireland and Dagestan do have some bad blood. So this could be another iteration of McGregor Habib. What's my man's name? Paul Hughes and Usman Nurmagomedov. It could be that type of fight where, we got Ireland and Dagestan going at it again. And Ian Garry is, granted, he's not as impressive to me as a Conor McGregor, of course not. But he does have some decent moments on the mic, I'll give him. And, he fights pretty hard. Granted, it's not what everybody wants to see, but I will say the kid is definitely talented. I do think he will beat Bilal. I think he's going to look fairly easy, and we'll see Bilal, not getting his hand raised, possibly getting his head raised off the canvas. So I'm going Ian Machado Garry, KO or decision. Like I said, the high kicks are definitely going to be sneaky in this matchup, and I do think the speed is just going to be a little bit too much for Bilal. So Ian Garry, KO or decision. Let's get to the scale. Like I told you earlier, Ian Garry looking solid as can be. 170 on the dot. Actually put effort into this weight cut, you know what I'm saying? But I will say, Bilal looked really good too, man. Looked pretty solid on the scale. Head is ginormous. Big target for Ian, who has pretty good accuracy. You go back and look at that Protest fight, how well he was able to track Protest's head too for the moments that he did have some success. I think Ian Garry's going to do what he needs to do. Where is the face-off, though? Here we go. They were talking back and forth, but, nothing crazy. I think Bilal was saying a lot of, we'll see tomorrow, we'll see tomorrow, we'll see tomorrow. I think that's what he was saying majority of the time. While Ian Garry was, saying whatever he wanted to say. But you see the height difference. The length is definitely going to be a factor. I wonder what the reach advantage is for Ian Garry. 72 to 74.5, but I think it's a little bit more pronounced than that when we get into the octagon. Minus 255 for Ian, plus 215 for Bilal. I think that's pretty solid. Ian KO sits at plus 500. Ian decision minus 135. Ian KO Garry round 3 plus 1200. KO round 3 is plus. Whoa. Hold on now. Garry KO round 3. I'm blind. Oh, here we go. Plus, no, that's round 2. Plus 1700. I do think over 2.5 is coming through. So that's why I'm looking at the round 3 KO. But I'm leaning Ian Garry no matter what. Money line. Plus, what was it? Plus 103 for the lock of the week. Ian Garry, Volkan Oezdemir. Let's make some money. Main event of the evening. We got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Dan the Hangman Hooker. Arman Tsarukyan is a pick. I do think he can win this fight. Decision, inside of distance, submission, KO. I think he has a lot of paths to victory here against Dan Hooker, who he is a really good kickboxer, right? But I think Arman's wrestling is just going to be too much. I think his control is too much. I think Dan is really going to struggle to get anything significant off because Arman Tsarukyan is a way better grappler than Mateusz Gamrot. We saw Gamrot have a little bit of success with the wrestling. Granted, Gamrot, I think, has really bad IQ. He's like, as soon as the first bell rings, he's going at you, like a damn chicken with his head cut off. Arman is way more calculated than that. Definitely think he has better control. I think he is one of the upper echelon grapplers in the UFC, especially in the 155 division. Him, Charles. I put Ilya up there, even though we haven't really seen a lot of it. Islam, when he was there, I think he can compete, in that range of grapplers. Again, I can't see Dan knocking Arman out. I think Arman has the upside to do it, especially with like ground and pound. I think he's going to look for a submission. I think he's going to try and put a stamp on why he should get the title shot again. Blowing out his back the way that he did, messing with Nina Drama last time. It was funny to see that he did it again. But I'm going to rely on Arman. I think he's going to come through. I think he's going to show up and fight actually this time. Well, we got further than we did last time. So hopefully, he doesn't pull out now. But I'm going to rock with Arman. I think he gets it done. I think inside the distance is definitely likely. I'm leaning towards a submission though. I know he said a knockout after the face-offs, but I think it's gonna be a submission. Here they are on the scales. Dan looked pretty good on the scale. A lot of tattoos from Dan, man. Lot of tattoos. I'm gonna blow it up. Some more for you if I can. I'll zoom in so you see Dan, and then Armin looks pretty good as well too. Let's get to the face-offs where we had some damn drama. We had Armin headbutting the shit out of Dan Hooker. I did not like this at all, man. You see a better visual of it right here. Headbutted the shit out of Dan Hooker. What if that would have caused a cut, you know? Could have canceled the fight. I don't know why he did that. I thought that was, you know, fucking stupid. Would have caused the fight. Now there would have been, you know, the main event would have been Gary Bilal. I don't know what the fuck he did that for. I know these guys, you know, were talking crap to each other, but you gotta be a little smarter than that, man. He's been out for a while. I know he's ready to fight. Just be a little bit smarter, man. I'm gonna go Armin. I think he gets it done inside the distance. I would like to see Dan Hooker, you know, knock him the hell out just for that, but that's definitely a chase. Minus 600 for Armin, plus 450 for Dan Hooker. Armin inside the distance, minus 175. Over, I lean over, I don't know. 1.5 to me is a little testy because it could be early. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Dan Hooker, taken down by Gamrot early in their fight. I'm looking at Armin. Could be round 1, round 2. Armin, round 1 plus 350. Round 2 plus 450. Sub line is plus 275. Sub round 2. Plus 1300. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be crazy to me if he wins by submission. I do think we're getting an Armin victory. I do think he is the most deserving title challenger, even though, you know, he already had his chance and blew his back out trying to get there. But I do expect Armin Tsurukyan to win this Saturday. Now, let's get to my favorite section, your favorite section, the parlays, because you know we got some money to be made for UFC Qatar. So here we go. We're going Armin YAKHYEV inside the distance, minus 104. Do believe that is safe. Gary Uzdemir, lock of the week. You already know how we feel about that one. Gary Uzdemir and Armin, plus 130. Most confident picks for me. Riley, Sagid, over 2.5. Asu versus Perez, plus 170. Topuria, this is where we had to switch. You know, originally this was GAZIEV. Topuria, OROLBAI, Riley, over 2.5. Gary versus Bilal, plus 310. I like the value on that one. Kyoji and Loder, plus 450. Really like the underdogs. Vulcan, another Vulcan, Topuria, Freeman, under 4.5. Armin versus Hooker, plus 516. Really like that play. Over 1.5. Beksat versus Topuria. YAKHYEV inside the distance. Uzdemir, Freeman, over 2.5. ALIEV versus Rock, plus 707. Then we're going Yak KO, Uzdemir KO, and Kyoji, plus 920. Really like that one. This is where we had to do a little bit of shuffling because we also had GAZIEV in this play. Tsurukyan inside the distance, Gary decision, Asu ALMABAYEV money line, and Riley KO, plus 1135. I think that's a home run right there. And then to wrap it up, we're going Armin and Asu ALMABAYEV via submission, plus 1900. I really like that play as well. But that is not all that I have for you guys. I do want to go over the boxing match this weekend. You know, we have over in Saudi Arabia, Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. I really like that main card. There's a lot of fighters that I'm pretty familiar with. Granted, the breakdown won't be as in depth, but I will give you guys a couple of picks if you do watch boxing. I do think we're going to get some pretty exciting fights. So let's get into it. We got, honestly, these are the only 4 fights that I really care about. Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. I do think Benavidez wins. I do think it is going to be by stoppage. I will say though, Benavidez up at 175 hasn't looked like Benavidez down at 168. But I do think this is the fight that it comes together. He's going to have someone in front of him that is not afraid to trade shots. And we saw in the David Morrell fight. Morrell was pretty solid. Don't get me wrong, had a couple of moments there, but it was more so David just walking him down, not really someone who's going to trade with him. I think Yarde is going to trade with him, and I think David wins majority of those exchanges. So I do think David wins. I think it'll be knockout, probably like round 10. I think David is pretty solid, man. I really like him. Canelo's been ducking him for a while, and I understand it. He moved up to 175, trying to take on some bigger challenges. Hopefully, trying to set up the Bivol fight. He trained with Bivol. According to him, he stopped him, or not stopped him, but he dropped him in training in a sparring session. So he's definitely trying to get that fight, or maybe even the Artur Beterbiev fight, because that's definitely a huge matchup to book as well. But I do think Benavidez wins. Of course, so does everybody does. Minus 1100 on the books, but I'm gonna go with Benavidez. I think he wins. This is the fight that I really want to talk about, though. Brian Norman taking on Devin Haney. I think Brian Norman's gonna win. Devin Haney, in the face-off, if you go back and watch it, I know the ceremony weigh-ins are later today. I don't think it happened yet as of this recording, but the weigh-in yesterday at the presser, Devin Haney kind of like gave away his game plan. He's all moving, shuffling and driving, trying to show that he's not gonna, sit in front of Brian Norman. His dad was even talking about, we're trying this new thing out where we're gonna start bouncing and da da da. I think Devin Haney is gonna be running around the ring like he did in his last fight. I think Brian Norman does have power that can scare Devin Haney, similar to what Ryan Garcia did. Granted, it was a no contest, whatever. But I think Brian Norman has more than just a left hook, which is what Ryan Garcia had for Devin Haney. I do think Brian Norman can clip him. Hopefully he doesn't, fall into a fight where he's just chasing Haney. But I do think Brian Norman does have power. I do think he has some really good IQ. You go look at the setup that he did on Jin Sasaki. Set him up beautifully, jabbed him to the body. Saw Sasaki was following everything that he did. Once he jabbed him to the body, he jabbed him back to the body and caught him with the hook and sat him down. I think Brian Norman is a sneaky, power puncher at 147. Granted, he's starting to get, some more notoriety because he has the belt and because he's fighting Devin Haney. But I don't know, man. I don't like Haney post Ryan Garcia. I do think he is a little shaken. I do think Brian Norman is a tough matchup for him. If he comes and shows up to be, the Devin Haney that we saw against Lomachenko, against Kambosos, against who else has he fought? Progress, then it's a different story. But post Ryan Garcia, the win against Jose Ramirez, he literally was on the run the entire time, and I think he's going to do something similar in this matchup. And I will say, Turkey is being very critical of fighters that are starting to do that. If you go back and watch the Shakur versus William Zepeda fight, he told him, he said, "Hey, I want you to fight." So I think I think Turkey has, put a couple of words in the referee's, ear to let him know, like, yo, make this a fight. If he gets to run and take a point type of thing, I think Devin Haney's going to be forced to sit down in some of these exchanges, and I think Brian Norman is going to be able to capitalize. So I'm going Brian Norman to win KO or decision. Then we got Abdullah Mason. I'm not familiar with Sam Noakes. Going with Abdullah Mason, I do like that he was able to overcome some adversity, getting dropped, in his last fight against was it this fight? Was it Manuel? I think it was Manuel. Yeah, it was this fight, the Barachek versus Davis card. Yeah, he got dropped in that fight, was able to come back, found a stoppage. I'm very high on the Mason brothers. And then we got Bam Rodriguez. I'm going Bam. I know this is a tough fight, but I'm going Bam. Bam is, showing to be getting better time and time again. I think he's going to come through. And yeah, I think all these guys are keeping their O. So yeah, that's what I got on, the boxing match this Saturday. I believe it's Saturday night. Also have a training partner of mine, Joel Fagler, competing on Fury FC tonight, actually Friday night. So I'll be tuning into that. If you guys have UFC Fight Pass, check that out too. I believe he's on the main card, heavyweight bout. So look out for that too if you guys don't have nothing else to do. But that is the weigh-in recap, the final predictions, the bets. Gave you guys some boxing. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought, who you guys are picking in the main event, who you guys like in the Benavidez card. There's a lot of fights going on this weekend. I am definitely interested in all of them. I will be tuned in. We got the holidays next week, so trying to load up on some content for you guys since we will have a little bit of a break. So keep the post notifications on, turn them on, not just on personalized, put them on everything because I'm gonna give you guys something throughout this week. Don't worry about it. So thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later this week, I'll give you something. Maybe do some matchmaking. Maybe I'll do a matchmaking video. I had a little bit of success doing that last time, but yeah, I think I'll go back to the well with that. But yeah, UFC Qatar, Tsurukyan, Hooker. That's what I got. See you guys on the next one. Peace out.